Not every part of Oahu delivers the island lifestyle you imagine. Some neighborhoods look like paradise on Instagram, but if you move into the wrong pocket, daily frustrations and relocation regret can hit fast. That's why I'll show you where the trade-offs really are, so you can avoid costly mistakes. You'll see the west side areas that look stunning but come with big trade-offs in safety, commute, and convenience. The urban pockets in Honolulu where tourists thrive but full-time residents face noise, congestion, and property crime, and the neighborhoods families and retirees consistently choose for safety, community, and long-term value. I am Duc Ong, a local real estate agent here in Honolulu. I've helped countless families relocate to Oahu, and today I'll walk you through the map so you can choose the right neighborhood for your lifestyle and avoid the ones that don't fit. Before you fall in love with the property's looks or price, zoom out and see where it sits on the island map. A home's location on Oahu can make or break your daily reality. So this is the part of Oahu that looks like paradise in pictures, but often comes with the biggest trade-offs in real life. The Waianae Coast on Oahu's west side is beautiful. We're talking about long, sandy beaches, crystal blue ocean, epic sunsets every night. But here are the trade-offs you must consider with West Oahu, Waianae, Nanakuli, Makaha area. First is safety and crime. Unfortunately, this area struggles with higher crime rates than almost anywhere else on the island. We constantly see community reports about car thefts, break-ins, and even some gang activity. You'll want to be extra mindful of home security here. And then there's the wildfire and emergency risks. The Waianae Coast is dry and has a history of brush fires. That single access road, Farrington Highway, that runs up the coast doesn't help. It's the only way in and out for much of this coast. It's a two-lane highway hugging the shoreline. If there's an accident or a fire, that road can get closed or gridlocked very quickly. Another trade-off is you won't find the same level of amenities out in Waianae as you do in town. Some parts of West Oahu still have older infrastructure. Think overhead power lines, which are more vulnerable in storms or fires, or water sewer systems that haven't been upgraded in decades. Now, to be fair, not every street on the Waianae Coast is the same. There are neighborhoods near the mountains or newer subdivisions, like Sea Country in Maili, where you might find a tighter-knit community feel and somewhat better upkeep. But for newcomers, especially if you're coming from the mainland with idealized visions of Hawaii, you need to go in with eyes open. Spend some time out there at night, not just a Sunday afternoon at the beach. Now that you've seen the west side's hidden costs, let's shift focus to the urban core of Honolulu. Next up is Kalihi. Kalihi is just minutes from downtown, which is right over here, and it's right by the airport. Because it's central, it's attractive to folks who work in town but can't afford the fancy east side. Median home prices in Kalihi are definitely lower than in places like Manoa or Hawaii Kai. Many first-time homebuyers eye Kalihi for that reason. But Kalihi comes with its share of trade-offs, older homes, and infrastructure. A lot of housing stock here is old. We're talking 50s, 60s, plantation-style homes, or early post-war builds. If you buy here, budget for renovations. Kalihi is dense. There are narrow streets, lots of cars parked on the shoulders, people living multi-generationally in small spaces. Driving through some of the interior Kalihi streets, like Camphor Road area or around Kalihi Valley homes, can be chaotic. Parking is tough in many spots. Some parts of Kalihi, especially lower Kalihi by the industrial areas, like over here, or specific housing projects, see higher rates of property crime and even some violent incidents. The upside is you have access to lots of services. The downside is it's not the suburban ideal. It can be noisy and unattractive in certain spots. One thing to mention, the Honolulu Rail, whenever it fully opens, has a station planned at Kapalama on Dillingham, which is basically Kalihi's edge. Bus lines are also plentiful here. So if you prefer public transit, Kalihi is well connected. Kalihi isn't all the same. Kalihi Valley, which is up here in the back, is actually a quieter residential area with green hills. If you go up Kalihi Street into the valley, it almost feels like a different neighborhood. Cooler, more rainforest vibe. Some nice older homes on bigger lots. If you come with the right expectations and street smarts, Kalihi can be rewarding. If you arrive expecting palm-lined suburban bliss, you're going to be shocked. All right, now let's head a bit south to the Ala Moana Kaka'ako area. This is the urban core of Honolulu. This area is the epitome of convenience. For someone who loves city living, it doesn't get better than this. It's very appealing to young professionals, empty nesters, and anyone who doesn't want a long commute. Despite the upscale condos and shopping centers, this area has a higher crime rate than most residential neighborhoods on the island. And yes, homelessness is visible here. You'll see folks camping at Ala Moana Beach Park or along the sidewalks. Next, the noise and congestion can be an issue. This area is busy 24/7. You have traffic noise, construction noise. Living here, you kind of have to be okay with the city buzz. Another factor is the condo life and costs. Most housing in this area are condos, and many are luxury condos. That means HOA fees that can be quite high, easily $700 to $1,500 a month on top of your mortgage. And speaking of condos, not all are new and shiny. The Ala Moana area also has some older buildings from the 70s and 80s. Always check the building's health, such as plumbing, elevators, and concrete spalling. If you're a city person, the convenience is unbeatable in Hawaii. You skip the traffic, you have restaurants downstairs, you can walk to the beach for sunset. That's the dream for a lot of people. And newer developments like Ward Village in Kaka'ako are designed to be walkable communities with parks and grocery stores integrated. Also, many buildings have 24/7 security and gated parking. Those measures do help residents feel safer despite the area crime stats. Your experience can differ a lot based on your specific building. Now, let's talk about Waikiki. Waikiki is iconic. Living in Waikiki can indeed feel like you're in the heart of paradise, but it's also like living in the middle of a tourist theme park. Let's start with the good. If you live in Waikiki, you are ultra walkable to everything. If you need groceries, there's a food pantry and plenty of ABC stores nearby. You can literally carry your surfboard to the beach at dawn, catch some waves, and be back home for a shower all within an hour. And lots of entertainment. Now for the trade-offs. Waikiki, being a tourist mecca, has a lot of property crime. Your chances of getting your car broken into in Waikiki are unfortunately pretty decent if you street park or leave it in a sketchy lot. Waikiki sees on the order of 80,000 to 120,000 visitors on Oahu per day, depending on the season. A huge chunk of them are staying in Waikiki. So you're sharing your neighborhood with tens of thousands of tourists constantly. That means crowds on the sidewalks, tour buses coming through, loud party goers at 2 a.m., and of course, traffic. Parking is notoriously bad for residents. If your building doesn't include parking, renting a stall can be expensive. Waikiki is old. Beneath the glamour, the infrastructure is aging, and there are often water main breaks or construction fixing something, which adds to the noise and traffic. Also, if you have kids, note that the public school for Waikiki area, which is Jefferson Elementary, is fine. But by middle or high school, many local families prefer to be in other districts or go private. For the right person, Waikiki is amazing. If you're a remote worker, single, and love surfing, a small condo in Waikiki can be heaven. It's all about knowing yourself and whether you'd love or hate being in the heart of the action. Next, let's get out of the city for a bit and head up into one of Honolulu's valleys, Palolo Valley. Palolo offers a quieter, almost rural feel, while still being 15 minutes from downtown Honolulu. A lot of locals live here, many for generations. You'll find older plantation-style homes and some newer builds scattered in. If you want to be near the action but not in it, Palolo can be attractive. Home prices here are generally lower than the fancy neighborhoods like Manoa or Kahala. Being a valley, Palolo is somewhat prone to flooding and runoff issues during heavy rains. When we get those intense downpours, the streams can swell and streets can get pretty flooded. So you definitely want to check your flood zone maps. Some lower areas are in the floodplain. Palolo Valley basically has one main road in and out, Palolo Avenue, which connects down to Waialae Avenue, the main drag of Kaimuki. That means if there's a car accident or a downed tree on Palolo Avenue, you're kind of stuck or rerouted. Many homes in Palolo are older. Lots of single-wall construction, single-wall wooden homes from the mid-20th century. The upside is that those hills can afford you great views if you're on one side of the valley. For buyers who want a house and don't mind an older home or some rainy days, it's a great option. Just remember that valley life means potential floods or mudslide risks in extreme weather. and a bit of isolation with only one road out. Let's pop over to the adjacent neighborhoods of Kaimuki and Kapahulu. These are popular with locals and younger families who want that sweet spot between affordability and location. They're great, but they also have their own quirks. So the Kapahulu neighborhood is this neighborhood around here, and Kaimuki is this area just Mauka of Diamond Head. These districts sit just east of Waikiki and downtown, kind of next door to the fancy Kahala area over here. They are totally different in character though. If you like neighborhoods with history, character, and lots of good food, these are it. Kaimuki is often described as a foodie haven. There's coffee shops, bakeries, and boutique shops. It's a mix of long-term local spots like diners and craft seed stores, and newer trendy cafes and brunch spots like Coco Head Cafe. It's centrally located, 10 minutes to Waikiki, 10 minutes to UH Manoa, and so it's very convenient. Kapahulu is a neighborhood that connects Kaimuki to Waikiki. It's famous for legendary eats like Leonard's Bakery, home of the Malasada, and Rainbow Drive-In. So it's kind of a sweet spot for convenience. The homes here are mostly older. If you're buying, expect to see a lot of single-wall construction, post and pier foundations, and some are charming vintage, some are teardowns. The mix is wild, so budget for maintenance or find one that's already updated. Streets in the older sections of Kaimuki, Kapahulu can be very narrow. Lots are often small, say 3,000 to 5,000 square feet. And many homes don't have garages or have only a single carport. So you'll see street parking competition here too. Wildlight Avenue, which is this street here, and Kapahulu Avenue, this one over here, can get very congested at times. Also, being central, a lot of people cut through these neighborhoods to get elsewhere. You'll get used to the flow, but don't expect quiet streets everywhere. Some parts of Kaimuki are in the Kaimuki High School District, which isn't one of the better school districts, while other parts of Kaimuki belong to the Kalani District, which is much better. If schools are a major factor, keep that in mind. Kaimuki and Kapahulu offer a fantastic middle ground for many people. You get the big city conveniences without living in a high-rise. But with older homes, some congestion, and an unpolished look in certain places, they're not the white picket fence suburb. They're real neighborhoods with grit and personality. If you're okay with that, you'll love it here. If you want perfectly manicured and uniform, you might lean towards the more master plan communities elsewhere. Now, let's look at Hawaii Kai, Kahala, and Kailua, which are considered the dream zones. So, these are the spots that often top the list for relocating families and retirees who can afford them. Think of these as the gold standard areas, but they come with a gold standard price tag and occasionally a commute penalty. Let's go one by one. First, let's zoom in on Hawaii Kai, which is right in here. So Hawaii Kai is a master plan community at the very eastern end of Honolulu. It's built around marinas and waterways. So you can see this marina over here, which means that some homes are right on the water with their own private docks. Lifestyle-wise, Hawaii Kai is suburban and outdoorsy. There's a Costco right over here and good schools like Kaiser High School. There's also lots of recreation like Coco Head Crater and snorkeling at Hanauma Bay over here, bodyboarding at Sandy Beach over here. And so it's popular with families and active retirees. Housing ranges from luxury marina front condos and townhouses to single-family homes in various sub-neighborhoods. Portlock is a high-end peninsula down here. Hahaione Valley over here. And so there's median home prices around 1.2 to 1.5 million for a typical single-family home. So it's expensive, but not as crazy as Kahala. Condos and townhomes can be in the $600K to $1 million range, depending on the size and the view. It's one of those places people move to and often stay long-term because it's safe, clean, and has almost everything you need. The trade-off is if you work in downtown Honolulu, you're driving against traffic some, but still about 30 to 45 minutes in rush hour. Next, let's move back towards town over to Kahala. So Kahala is old money, the Beverly Hills of Hawaii, as they say. It's an established luxury neighborhood just east of Diamond Head. It's the kind of place where houses commonly go for $5 million. Beachfront estates can go for $10 million plus. Why? It's flat, gorgeous, private, and has its own small beachfront. There's a shopping mall, Kahala Mall, which is right over here, with Whole Foods. And it's a 5 to 10 minute drive to Waikiki or Kahala Hotel for a spa day. The community is mostly wealthy professionals, executives, doctors, and some celebrities. Safety is as good as it gets. Extremely low crime because it's a cul-de-sac of wealth at the end of town and well patrolled. The trade-offs are not much besides for the cost. Perhaps it's too quiet or not that hip. If you want walkable excitement, Kahala isn't it. It's more like a retiree paradise or raise your kids in privilege paradise. But as far as stability, schools, Kahala Elementary is well regarded, and there are private schools nearby. And prestige, you can't beat it. If you can afford it and value privacy and a large home, it's fantastic. All right, next, let's hop over to the windward side, to Kailua. Kailua is what many people picture as the ideal island town. You got stunning white sand beaches like Kailua Beach and Lanikai. You got a charming town center with boutiques and cafes and a laid-back vibe. So do remote workers and retirees who want that live where you vacation life. Median home prices in Kailua have soared. They're roughly around $1.4 to $1.5 million for a typical single-family home, not even near the beach. For beachside properties, sky's the limit. Those go for $3-5 million and up. Everything's just a bit pricier or harder to find because it's a smaller town, though there is a Target now and plenty of grocery stores. Most people find those minor issues well worth living in paradise, but it's not 100% without headaches. Hawaii Kai, Kahala, and Kailua are kind of the no-regret zones if you can afford them, and the commute trade-offs. If budget isn't an issue and you want that classic island lifestyle, these are definitely the areas to focus on. Now, shifting gears, let's talk about Oahu's growth corridor out west. So we got Waipahu over here, Ewa, and Kapolei. This is where you might find a brand new large home at a reasonable price, but need to factor in commute and lifestyle differences. This is the new suburbia. We got great homes, but long drives and a few cautions. Kapolei has been officially designated as Oahu's second city. Over the last 20 to 30 years, this whole Ewa plain exploded with development. It's where a lot of the island's population growth has been funneled. If you want a newer, larger home, and maybe even a bit of a yard for less money, this is where you end up looking. Let's break down the key areas. Kapolei. Think of Kapolei as a standalone city in the making. It's got a major open-air mall at Kamakana Ali'i, a Costco, a Target, movie theater, restaurants, homes in Kapolei, and its sub-areas like Kapolei Knolls, the Hana tend to be modern single-family or townhomes built in the 90s through 2000s. They have things like central AC, 2-car garages, and community parks. Prices are better than townside, maybe $800K to $1 million for a nice 3 to 4 bedroom single family in Kapolei. The city is pretty clean and thoughtfully laid out. Next is Ewa Beach. Ewa has older sections, the original Ewa Beach town and villages that house plantation workers, and tons of newer sections. Ocean Point and Ho'akalei are master plan communities with pretty houses, manicured lawns, golf courses, and a country club lagoon in Ho'akalei. You can get a 4-bedroom modern house built in, say, 2005 for maybe $1 million and sometimes less, which in East Honolulu would be $1.5 to $2 million. There are also newer condo complexes, and one great thing is the beaches in this area, like White Plains or the beaches by Oneula, are nice and usually not crowded, though they're a bit off the beaten path. The biggest trade-off is the commute. Also, some of old Ewa's reputation wasn't great crime-wise, but the newer communities feel quite safe and are very family-oriented. Next, let's move up to Waipahu. Waipahu is a bit different. It's an older town, inland from Kapolei on the central corridor. It was a big sugar mill town back in the day. Today, it's dense with a mix of old plantation-style homes, some in the 60s to 80s, and lots of townhomes and low-rise apartments. It's mostly the local Asian Pacific Islander population. Waipahu often gets a bad rep. There's certainly some higher crime pockets. It has homelessness issues in certain parts, and some areas like Ani Ani Place are infamous for trouble. However, Waipahu is also home for many hardworking families and has some great Filipino food. It's not a place outsiders usually aim for first, but it's one of the more affordable areas near town. If you buy there, you'll get a better price per square foot, but you should do your due diligence on a specific street and maybe invest in good security measures. Waipahu's advantage is it's a bit closer than Kapolei or Ewa, so commuting is not as bad, and it has the rail line running through it, which could be convenient in the future. The number one issue people have when living in Kapolei, Ewa, Waipahu is the traffic. The H1 freeway from that side into town is notorious. It's just a lot of people funneling into a few highways. Many residents adjust their lifestyle around it. And indeed, if you work in Kapolei or the west side, then living out there is fantastic. You reverse commute or have a short hop. So it really depends on your work situation. If your job is downtown and you buy an Ewa, you will spend a chunk of your life in traffic or need to get creative. With all the growth, the infrastructure sometimes lags. Schools in Kapolei, Ewa are new but crowded. Roads get wear and tear. But you do have most of the conveniences out there now. You got multiple shopping centers, some medical clinics. You still might drive to town for certain specialists or for fancy nightlife. But day to day, you can do most things locally. You see a lot of involvement in things like school events, little leagues, and so on. People like that their kids have new facilities and that the community is growing. It feels optimistic in a way. Now, if someone says they live in Ocean Point or Kapolei, it doesn't carry a negative connotation. Waipahu is still the one that some may look down on due to perceived crime or just older, crowded conditions. But again, parts of Waipahu like Waikele, which has outlet shops and newer homes, are quite nice. Now that we've covered most of the island's regions, let's zoom out for a reality check. When you visit Oahu as a tourist, you're typically seeing a curated slice of the island. Most tourists stay in Waikiki or maybe Ko'olina, hit the popular beaches, do some hikes, and eat at fun restaurants. It's a blast, and everything looks pretty perfect. They're not usually thinking about the noise or the 300 square foot studio apartment part. They go to Ala Moana for shopping and see luxury towers and a beautiful park and assume all of Honolulu is like that. In general, tourists experience the highlights. Great beaches, nice hotels, scenic drives, and usually everything's convenient for them because the tourism industry makes it so. When you're looking to buy a home and live here, you have to peel back that layer. What do buyers and residents need to consider? Commutes and work location. Where you live will dictate how much of your life is spent in traffic. If you have kids, schools is huge. The quality of public schools varies a lot by area. We discussed how crime can vary from one neighborhood to the next. A visitor might feel perfectly safe everywhere, but a resident will learn quickly that you shouldn't leave your bike unattended in Moiliili, or that certain parks after dark are hangouts for drug activity. Tourists drop cash on vacations, but they don't necessarily internalize what it costs to live here full-time. Living in Hawaii isn't one size fits all. Do you want urban convenience, or do you value space and quiet? Do you surf every day, or do you just like the idea of a beach nearby? As a buyer, think about your routine. There's a saying, lucky we live Hawaii, and it's true. It's a beautiful, culturally rich place. One important mindset I encourage is, it's not that one area is good and another is bad. It's more about fit. Each area we talked about has people who love it and people who regret moving there because their expectations didn't match reality. That's why I, as a realtor, sometimes play devil's advocate with my clients. I ensure they consider what daily life will be like beyond the Instagram moments. A weekend trip or a week-long vacation won't show you the whole picture of living in Hawaii. So, given all that, here's the bottom line. Hawaii is paradise, but not every part of Oahu delivers the island lifestyle you're dreaming about. You've seen it. One neighborhood might have gorgeous views, but leave you stuck in traffic and worrying about break-ins, while another is safe and convenient, but lacks that postcard beach in your backyard. If you move into the wrong pocket for your needs, you could face higher crime, longer commutes, tourist crowds, or just a lifestyle that isn't what you came for. Relocation regret is real, and it can be costly both emotionally and financially. The good news is, with the right guidance, you can avoid those mistakes. I'm Duc Ong, a local real estate agent here in Honolulu. I've helped countless families and retirees relocate to Oahu with confidence by showing them the real differences between neighborhoods, beyond the brochure pictures. If you're thinking about moving to Hawaii, feel free to reach out to me. I'll walk you through the map, share what life is like here in each area, the good, the bad, and depends on your style, and help you find a spot that truly fits your budget and your vision of paradise. My goal is to make sure your Hawaii move is a blessing and not a regret. Hawaii can absolutely be your paradise. You just gotta land in the right area for you. Thanks for joining me on this tour of Oahu's neighborhoods. I hope it helped, and if you want to learn more, You can always grab my 30-page Oahu relocation guide by checking out the QR code on screen or in the description below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.